All right. This is Rob's talk show, and we will be talking about Texas new abortion laws. So first, we're going to start out, give you a little insight about abortion became legal after the case of Roe v. Wade in 1973. Prior to the 70s, there was little information about the stats gathered from documented abortions. According to the Perspectives on Sexual and Reproductive Health Journal, in 1955, experts had estimated on the basis of qualitative assumptions that between 200,000 and 1.2 million illegal abortions were performed each year. Now, from New World beliefs and arises in the 70s, women were becoming more independent and less traditional, leading to more abortions. Um, Closer to the early 1970s, the number of legal abortions grew to 20 times the amount in just a couple of years before. Um, in the Roe v. Wade case, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the restrictive state abortion laws were unconstitutional and led to the legalization of induced abortion throughout the United States. This law saved many lives. It protected women from giving backstreet abortions. They were using coat hangers, bleach, many other tactics to rid their babies. This was causing many deaths in the United States. Here's a fact that was interesting to me. So the amount of non-white women having abortions from 1972 to 1999 jumped from 23% to 44%, meaning it was more readily accessible and affordable for minority women. As did the proportion of unmarried women rising from 70% to 81%. This helped out minority women immensely because they were able to wait until they were ready to have kids. They were able to become financially stable instead of forcing them into having a child with no money and further being pushed into poverty situations. Another interesting fact that I found was presented by the Perspectives Journal in 1970. 1 in 4 women sought an abortion at 13 weeks pregnant or later, and moving along a decade, only 1 in 10 women sought abortion after 13 weeks. So if you're familiar with the abortion times and all that, you know that 13 weeks is actually a very long time to wait to have an abortion, and the risks each week you wait, I think after 8 or 9 weeks, the risks jump very much. So this greatly impacted women because the further along you are in a pregnancy and seeking abortion, the risk and complication factors grow exponentially. The legalization of abortions nationwide, it also gave doctors many new medical advancements because they were safely able to legally monitor and study the abortion process for decades. Leaving them new advancements in science and ultimately leading to the best abortions, the safest abortions possible. Legal abortions are actually much safer route than carrying a baby to term. By carrying a baby to term, the risk for the mother goes up several 100% for some type of fatality or complication. So we'll jump down here and we will talk about the current time. With Texan Republicans have gained much party support over the years to enact abortion stipulations since the case of Roe v. Wade. If we jump to current time right now, Texas Republicans have a huge advantage to encompass the large, harsh laws that have been foreseen years ago. With retirement of traditional Southern Democrats being put out of office, the Republicans have gained a lot more support and votes for their side, leading them a more powerful party in the state of Texas. They're able to get a lot more stuff passed. Uh, they were also able to pick up more supporters because the 90s, the Southern Democratic Party, they actually switched their views from being more pro-life, the Democratic Party being more pro-life, to actually being completely pro-choice. So if you look at these stats here in the visuals, you can see that mostly white women here are actually receiving abortions in the 80s and 90s, and not till the 1999 2000 does the number start leveling out. That is interesting because it's mostly the white women that are more towards gearing towards pro-life and anti-abortion measures. So that's an that's an interesting topic there. So we also have a picture here back in the 70s of women, showing them marching. And so the Republican support and other leading factors has ended up in the overturn of the Roe v. Wade, leaving it to the state's discretion on how they want to handle abortion matters, which is very concerning because this leaves millions of women feeling hopeless and senseless. In just the past 2 years, hundreds of protests nationwide, just like the one that you can see in this picture here, regard the feelings of stability and rights of women that they've been stripped of. So it's a very real, concerning, and current topic going on in the state of Texas right now. Texas has the harshest abortion bans in the United States, also leading as prime example for other traditional minded states to follow, like Tennessee or Idaho. I know that the newest law that they just passed into the effect, and this was in August of 25th, 2022, is called the Trigger Law. And this law prevents actually basically all abortions in Texas. And the only stipulation is if you can have an abortion if the mother has medical complications. So this is also very concerning for mothers because they have to be very, like, the doctors actually can't perform an abortion unless the mother is very, very sick, which they don't say that in the bill. And the doctors actually have to get a signed document from the judge giving them power to give that abortion to the woman. And by that time, when they've gotten the order signed and all that for the abortion, that's days or, a week of being extra sick. The woman's just getting direly ill in between that time, and it's causing many health concerns. So middle class or wealthier women, they don't really have the issues that lower class have. The wealthier women, they have time, they can leave work, they have the luxury of being able to take off and travel to go get an abortion. They have the money to go get an abortion. This leaves the minorities at a fault here. A conclusion of many people's beliefs is that this tactic is yet another way to keep the lower income families in poverty. According to the socio-political context of abortion bill authorship in Texas, said in contrast, minority threat theory posits that growth in the economic and political resources of minorities threatens the dominant social order and that lawmakers will respond by enacting harsh measures that restrict the rights and privileges of minorities. This is basically saying that they want the minorities to stay impoverished, and the higher ups are worried of them coming out of poverty and having a word for themselves. So this is another way to suppress people into poverty. So there's a lot of permanent effects that pregnancy has on a woman, such as bone loss, skeletal rearrangements, enlarged uterus, enlarged vagina, prolapsed organs, urinary incontinence, and skin changes. So a lot of women are clearly fed up with this decisions made by the Supreme Court, and they state that it's unconstitutional to decide a woman's reproductive rights. According to the Lancet Hematology, safe abortion services are essential to individual freedom and gender equality. However, beyond these fundamentals, there are also lifelong consequences to individuals who are forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy and experience childbirth. So, as you see here, this woman was actually, women all over Texas right now, not just her, but are being forced to give birth to stillborn babies. And you could imagine the traumatic experience that that has with it. Here's a picture of actual conservative pro-lifers that do support legal and safe abortion. They this goes to show you that how even these women who are so stern and strict in their beliefs and conservatism, that they know right from wrong in this sense, and they believe in a pro-choice effect, even though they are pro-lifers. This about sums up my document, and I appreciate you listening in. That'll do it. Have a good one, America.